Out in the garden this morning doing several projects, trying to get things cleaned up. Some things continued to cut back. I've put up a couple videos at this point on just cleaning the front garden and the back garden, but I didn't show it all, and there was a lot to do, so just trying to wrap all of that kind of stuff up. We do leave the leaves in the garden back here, but I'd kind of, you know, just make it neater here and there, knock them off some of the plants, that kind of thing. The other thing we're doing is just checking on some damage, because we had a 15-degree night, which is 3 degrees colder than we had the entire winter last year. But last winter, that 18-degree Fahrenheit night we had happened from very warm temperatures leading up to it, like the month of November, 60-degree nights, and then crashed in middle December to 18 degrees. And it warmed up after that and really never got that cold after that again. Not unseasonably cold in any way. But there was a lot more damage in the garden from that event, and I did a lot of consultation work. You can sign up for consultations over on the website, it's HortTube.com, if you're interested in a consultation. A lot of consultation work last year, seeing damage that was done to people's gardens by sudden cold. This year we ramped down slower, you know, slowly, like you'd like to do, and have everything be asleep. So we've had a night 3 degrees colder than we had last winter. There's virtually no damage in the garden from that event that I can tell. We're several days removed from it at this point. There's a tiny bit of burn up on top of the Stellar Ruby magnolia, but this is a plant that's not great at shutting itself down, so it was likely still, you know, still had a lot of moisture up in the top of it and was just not really asleep at that moment. But things like the Fatsia, which can be, you know, slightly marginal here, you know, there's no even sign of it. It's still got the flower, some of the flower buds are still opening on it. So I don't see really any damage outside of a few leaves on a few things, like the Fatshedra over there, which is the cross between ivy and Fatsia. It had some new growth on it and burned. Just no big deal. So liking how everything went to sleep this year, it means that most things I think will wake up just fine that have now gone completely to sleep. Let us know down in the comment section below this video if you've had any damage in your garden, or if you had a chance to check on it at this point. Again, I'm happy everything's asleep, should stay asleep. Hopefully we don't go through some weird abnormally warm temperatures between now and whenever. Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy New Year. This will be somewhere in between those two. I think in between, this might be a couple days before Christmas, or the day before Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone, Happy New Year. The other thing we did was put the rest of our bulbs that we got from color blends in the back garden. So I put up a video already on a lot of the bulbs that went into the front garden. Just put some more out there as well. But the back patio back here has 3 spots that we have annuals around it that we do from seed in the house, and then we usually underplant those with bulbs. Sometimes even have pansies or some sort of winter flowers there. Kind of glad I didn't do pansies this year, because I do think that 15 degrees early on the pansies before they've gotten a little bit of growth on them could be a bit of a setback to those. But we put that same hyacinth and tulip combination that we did in the front garden that we loved so much out there last year. If you're following along with the channel, there's a whole playlist on bulbs, all about these individual bulbs. And again, we get 90% of what we do for bulbs from color blends. But we did fondant hyacinths back here, which are pink with maybe a little bit of a hint of white in them. And the tulips we did back here, Zephyr, which are also pink with white. So this should be a really interesting, very Easter-like combo for this space around the back patio. And then there were some Gemini tulips, which are pink and white with a little bit of purple in them as well. Those went along the driveway out there. So we'll have lots of photos of this in upcoming months. And then we put some snowflake leucosium on the other side. Those were really, really super nice bulbs. While I was digging over there, the space that most of the annual borders where I'm flipping this soil over and putting these bulbs in, we've really amended quite a bit. But that spot on the other side of the patio has never been just like completely dug out and flipped over and compost and all those kinds of things added. It's much improved, but you can see as I dig down further, I hit that red clay. I talk about this clay-based soil all the time, but you don't see it as much when we're working out here. So I'm not able to show it off as much because it's this far down now. We've buried it that far down. And then there were a couple of let's see, what else was it? Daffodils. So on the Color Blends website, when you're ordering, if you're in the South, they do have a southern section for bulbs. And so we put in some Mount Hood daffodils, which are classic southern daffodils. I mean, they're classic daffodils, period, but in the South. Mount Hood is probably one of the more consistent ones coming back. We have a park that's near us on Wade Avenue here in Raleigh that has this giant field of Mount Hood daffodils in the spring. And then we also put in some pipits. Those bulbs were really, really super, super nice. He's drinking the water that's sitting in the top of the Hummingbird feeder. So again, there's tons of videos on bulbs, bulb maintenance, and all kinds of bulb related things on the channels. We plant them about 3 times the depth of the bulb, make sure the pointy end is up. If you can tell which end is up easily. If you can't see where the pointy end is, usually you can find the roots, and the roots would go down. I tamp the soil down, but I don't over compact it. I'll water it in a bit if it's not gonna rain in the next little bit of time. They can go in a little bit of the seasonal deciduous shade, meaning that if the leaves, if the trees they're under don't have leaves on them, that's usually okay, but they can't go in like evergreen shade. I couldn't put them under this magnolia here that keeps its leaves all winter, or someplace that actually has winter shade on it. That's not going to be the best idea. So you do need some direct sun, but the sun can be very changeable in February, right? Depending on, you know, how your tree's leafing out, where the sun is in your garden, that kind of thing. I've also always said on the daffodils that they will face the sun. Not all of them, but if you take 100 daffodils and you see them all come up, 85 of them are going to be facing south, because the sun is coming up, going east to west, but it's in the southern sky at the time of the year that these things are blooming. And so those flowers will oftentimes just lock in on the south. So if I put them on my neighbor's property line over here, the neighbor is going to enjoy them. If I put them over here on the north side, they're going to face south toward that side. So keep that in mind, that the good portion of those bulbs will face toward the southern sky during the season. What else? Craziest thing, below freezing out here as I'm digging early this morning, and there's a hummingbird back here on that Marvel Mahonia. I've shown that Marvel Mahonia so many times in the last, I've done a couple of Q&As over there because it's been in full bloom, and then it was in a cleanup video here in the back garden the other day. And then this morning we have a hummingbird on it, which is kind of wild, while it's below freezing. You've heard a lot of bird sounds probably in this video and the previous videos the last couple of weeks. We have a ton of birds out here. There's a few less right this second. And it's because there's a hawk sitting over here that we haven't been able to really get a good video of this morning in a tree over here. And we hear this owl back here and behind us, which we always have a family of owls here in the area. But we can hear the owls back here and the hawk over here. So the birds have figured out this garden with all the leaves and the loose soil and the ease, you know, and the bird feeder, and we have fresh water out here for them and all those kinds of things. So they're really having a good time, but all the predators have shown up too. So they've temporarily, there's not a single bird on this bird feeder back here, and there hasn't been since I started this talk right now, because since we've seen that hawk, so they all saw it too, I guess. So we have, the birds of prey have shown up as well out here to take advantage of very distracted birds here in our garden here in Raleigh. So again, let us know down below, are you doing any work in your garden in your area at this point, or have you just kind of shut it down at this time? I'm really kind of enjoying being out here. We were gone for so long. I feel like I actually needed a bit of a break from it, where we had so much lead up to the open garden in June, and we spent a ton of time out here last year, and then we took such a long break from it that coming back out here and working in it's actually been enjoyable. Not that it wasn't before, but it doesn't seem like labor at all. You know, I think you go through times on anything like that. You probably go through times like that on your job, whatever you do in life. You go through times where, you know, it seems like it's fighting back, and other times where it seems super enjoyable. But right now it's kind of fun to be out here in the garden, and I like to do this work when it's kind of cool outside. Thanks for watching.